Hello, my name is Maya Ikalamar. I'm interning as an art therapist. The activity that I'll be explaining today is weaving for relaxation technique, where the objective was to bring in the message where in the beginning of anything it's difficult, and as we learn to adjust it becomes easier, and at the end of it a beautiful product is made. So this is the first time that they've been using this weaving technique, which I will be giving the video of explanation of how to use it. So anyone can use this technique. It can be used with most populations, those who have the capability of weaving and understanding it. The purpose of this weaving technique can also be used as a relaxation technique when you've already learned the technique. So these are some of the products the girls have made. This can be used as a decorative piece. It can be used as a mat or anything depending on the size that they make it as well. So they can make a bigger size using a bigger plate. Here we did a smaller size where we used only 3 colors. I did not want to use more colors than that because I did not want to complicate it. Typically we use calming colors to bring in that calming feeling, because in the beginning, especially when you're not able to do it, it can get complicated and get frustrating. So that's why at the end of the session I told the girls that even in life, when we start something, it becomes difficult and it can be a struggle and it might look like it's not going anywhere. But as we keep doing it and we continue going at it, you will see that something is forming. And at the end, they all enjoyed it and they all liked the product that they made. So the same way I said that in life, as you continue doing things and as you consistently do it, because it after a while it just becomes a repeating pattern where you keep joining threads, and so it's symbolic of as we're consistent in something, at the end, even if it's difficult, it will become something beautiful. The products that you require for this is just wool and paper plate. And for the technique of how to do this process, I'll be sharing a video with you and you can watch the technique.
So what you will need is a paper plate like this. We're going to be making 19 slots or marks around this circle. And the other thing that you need is scissors, any type of yarn, so any color yarn you want to use for today. So the first step is to take a pair of scissors and you're going to cut on the marks that you made around the paper plate. So the cuts can be about 1 inch or so. You're going to take the paper plate and you're going to put the end of your yarn on the back of the paper plate. You'll have end maybe about 2 inches out. Then you're going to go to the opposite side of the paper plate. So it doesn't have to be exactly opposite, but just in general, just go to the opposite side. And then you're going to come up again to the next slot like this. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to go to the opposite side, make a little crisscross like this, and go to that empty slot next to where you started. Go across to the opposite side, so crossing over, and go to the empty slot like this. So this is a pattern, so you're going to go to the next slot, go to the opposite side, cross over like this, next slot, cross over, and then you'll come to a point where you have 1 slot left, like me here. You're going to come over like this as usual. You're going to cut that now. Take a pair of scissors, snip the end. You are here, right? So you're going to go to the opposite side, to that empty space in between the 2 yarns like this. You're going to take the end and put it in between those 2. You're going to take the opposite hand, take the end from there, put it under, slide it under, and pull that string until you kind of gather everything together like this. And this is the foundation for our weaving today. We're going to create a mandala or circle that represents how we would like to feel. So we're going to basically go under and over all these spikes or spokes. You're here, you're gonna take the end. So some people like to wrap the end like this over a piece of cardboard, something like that, just to make it easier on yourself. I'm here, I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under in this fashion. Continuing the same pattern, going under and over each. So in the beginning, you know, it might not look very neat in the middle, and that's okay. The more that you continue to do this, you'll see a nice pattern forming in the center. Working with yarn and working with fiber is a very unique experience and very different from any other kind of art material out there. Yarn is very soft and it reminds us of clothing, it reminds us of soft things, and it's very connected to nurturing and very connected to even our survival in a way, because fabric and fiber has been a very crucial part in our human history, right? This is how we have really built societies, built communities, because we have fiber, because we have yarn. So I'm going to take a little loop like this, going under that spoke right there, coming back into this loop and pulling it out like this. You can leave it like this. I'll make it double knots just so you can see how I made the knot again. So making a loop like this, going under that vertical spine or vertical yarn, coming back to the loop, pull that end through the loop again like this, and then pull it through. Right? Cool. All right, so we're going to actually leave the ends, the tail of this yarn underneath our mandala like this. And so now you can change your colors. I'm taking about 2 arms length. You're going to do the same thing as before. So taking the end of the yarn, pulling it underneath that last spoke you were on, you're going to make a knot here like this. So this was under, so I'm gonna go over the next knot. So I used up all the yarn for my second color and I made a knot as before here. And I'm going to add one more color this time. So I'm going to actually stop here and going to make my final knot. I'm going to actually bring out all these loops from behind the paper plate. So we're just going to take that loop and bring it to the front like this. I'm gonna take the piece out of the plate and it'll look like this. You might want to hang this if that's your preference. Our focus was to really enjoy the therapeutic benefit of just the act of weaving. You don't have to do much if you really just was here for the process of weaving. I will show you how to actually perhaps get rid of these loops. I'm going to cut the loops into half. I'm going to just make knots with them. I'm going to actually leave this part here. So if you have come to this step, it's really your choice where you want to keep this, and kind of really look at your piece and get a feeling for what kinds of thoughts or emotions come up for you, what kind of good feelings come up for you when you look at this piece.